Hi everybody, it's Mel here from Wake Up Nutrition. It's day 2 of my nutrition and myth busting, and today it's about body weight. We can change our body weight and we can change our body shape. Not really, okay? Now I know that there'll be people watching this or people that you know that have undergone dramatic body transformations where you've lost a significant amount of body weight. Your body shape may well have changed because you have lost fat mass. You may have built muscle. But if you are somebody that has managed to maintain that loss for a long time, you are very much in the minority. The reason being, our body has a pretty good body weight regulation system, okay? Now, we have a set point. Now, it can be quite loose, so we'll have a set point which there'll be an upper and a lower limit, so we might sort of fluctuate within that window, but we've got things working to keep us within that set point window. Now, the first of those is genes, okay? Now, did you know that body weight is as strongly determined genetically as our height is, okay? Now, I'm tall, I'm nearly 6 foot. As a child, I hated being tall because I was literally head and shoulders above my friends and I missed out on a load of stuff. I would have given anything to be shorter, but there was nothing that I could do about it unless I chopped my ankles off. And with body weight, it's kind of the same thing. The other factors coming to play here are what we call epigenetics. So this isn't changing our DNA, it's how we can turn certain genes on and off. We can control what our body is doing through expression. So that might be, chemicals in our body, it might be through our environment. And the third factor is our actual environment. Now, we live in an obesogenic environment. Thousands and thousands of years ago, when we were, evolving, we lived in a feast or famine environment. We had to go and get off our backsides and hunt our food. Now we don't even need to move off the sofa. We live in a feast and feast environment. And what's happening here in terms of our challenges as why we really struggle to regulate our body weight is that our environmental and epigenetic factors are overriding our ability to regulate our body weight. And that tends to be particularly when we're looking at people that have dieted and looking at weight gain in individuals, okay? Now, when we've looked at studies, and there are sort of some very famous keynote studies that are sort of going back into the 50s, looking at starvation studies and so on. And when we look at what happens to people that have lost a significant amount of weight, so we're looking at large people, fat, obese individuals, I don't like using the word obese, but obese individuals that have lost a significant amount of weight, what we know is generally they will regain that weight and more. Now, when we look at this, actually, the weight regain tends to be very slow. Our body is not very efficient when our set point, when we go outside of our set point. And what happens is there are a number of sort of resettling points as our body attempts to find and re-establish our initial set point. And when our body is influenced by triggers such as our food environment, such as advertising, all the things that will prompt us into eating more junk food, we override our appetite signals. So the signals that are saying you don't feel hungry, you're not physically hungry, you don't need to eat, to the signals that say, do you know what, you've had enough. So our body loses the sensitivity and ability to really tightly control our food intake and therefore our body weight. So when we've looked at this study that I mentioned, looking at long-term weight loss and weight regain, over 2 years, these individuals gained weight. Now, if they had just eaten 100 calories less per day over 2 years, they would have maintained their weight. So that's telling us that, I say, our body isn't great. It's not necessarily very effective at refinding our set point when we've got other factors interfering. So the other thing I just wanted to quickly mention was fat loss. When we lose body weight, we will lose fat and we will also lose some muscle mass. We cannot spot, reduce isolate fat mass and create fat loss in individual isolated places. It doesn't work like that. When we lose body weight, it's probably somewhere between a 75% fat loss, 25% muscle loss. And it's down to Sod's law. That means that that fat loss will come off in the place that you want it most, last, and it will come back on into the place you want it least, first. This just shows biology. There's not a fat lot we can do about influence our body, particularly in the long term. And in the end of the day, on the short term, it's trying to do its best to get back to its original weight. So no, we can't really significantly change our body weight or shape in the long term. Okay, that was a long one, but thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.